blast from the past. Stuck in the days of clicks and systems. I'd wear a mask to fit in with people who play the victim. Yeah, I need to get away. You need to give me my space. You need to learn the lines, babe.
So Serena, thank you for joining me this day. Thank you for being here for our artist interview series. I'm excited to learn more about you and your music. So just to kick things off, as our first question, what was like the path you took as an artist, just to explain a bit about your background?
Yeah, so I actually grew up here in California from a musical family, and I've always wanted to do music professionally since I was like 4 years old, and then I started playing guitar at 9 years old, and then I was playing piano at 16, and then basically when I was like 16, I sort of started professionally doing things like recording, performing, in shows around my community, things like that. And then as I've just gotten older, I've just done it my whole life, basically. It's all I've ever dreamed about, and it's never really been an option. It's just been something I've done, so yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hear how young you started and like how much you chased your dreams. So leading up to my second question, what is your best memory about your journey as an artist so far that you can recall?
There's a lot, but I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing is songwriting. Right. So probably one of my songs for me was called Hollow, and that was probably the biggest, I guess, like experience I've ever had in the studio. So probably writing that song that day is probably one of my favorite memories, because it happened really organically, similar with my new song High School, but for some reason Hollow stays with me because we were just like kind of throwing ideas around, and I remember just like jumping on the mic and just like freestyling the chorus, and that alone still stays with me because there's certain times when you're writing that it's sometimes it's like a zen that you get in, like a headspace, and that one for me stays because I remember just being in the zone. It was the last of like a long series of songs we were writing, and I just was like in the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel you with that, because I mean, for me as a songwriter as well, I feel like a huge buzz just creating. So in terms of your new song, High School, I'd like to know a little bit more about your creative process behind that. What did it look like? Because I know for every song it's a bit different.
Yeah, totally. So that song, kind of a similar style of songwriting. I was working with my friend Carl Olson, and we had just met through like a songwriting networking group, and we just kind of had started meeting up in his studio, writing music together. We had a really natural chemistry with songwriting right away. Just like we synced. Like he would play a guitar thing, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, I have an idea," and he'd have like a little melody. I'd be like, "Try this pattern of this guitar chord." Like we were like yin and yang with songwriting, and he played something with High School, and I was like, "Wait a second, that's so cool!" And literally, like I think we wrote that song in like 1 or 2 hours, and it happened like instantaneously. And that was the first of like 5 songs that I will be putting out soon, that we wrote together, and it just happened so naturally.
What is the message that you're sharing in High School, and how do you hope to help the listeners and the community who's hearing it?
Right, so the idea behind the song in itself was we were both kind of sharing each other's stories. So I was bullied in high school growing up, and Carl has a sister, my co-writer, he has a younger sister who was bullied also. So for us, we both had like stories that were like, we were like, oh my god, that's weird. Like we both, I feel like a lot of people can relate to discrimination, racism is a form of bullying, any kind of judgment of your gender or what you like is a form of bullying essentially. So I feel like everybody in a way can find some way to tie a similar story for themselves. Yeah. So in the moment we were just like, whoa, that time we were younger and we were bullied in high school, that time sucked. Like let's write a song about that. Like let's make a song that people can listen to and be like, yeah, like I relate to this. So that was kind of like the all-around goal.
Yeah.
For that, yeah.
That's beautiful. Like I was also bullied in high school, and
right, yeah.
Nowadays It's
it
just,
sucks, but I feel like most people have a story. Like and it's kind of unfortunate. Like it's not like, yay, we were all bullied, like let's team up. But it kind of unites us at the same time,
yeah.
because bullying it happens at any age, young, old. You know, you could be like an old man crossing the street and someone might find an excuse to be like, he's old, he can't walk across the street. And it's like, come on, like, why do we have to be mean, you know?
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of the all-around goal.
Yeah, I love that you're spreading the kindness, and like it's becoming more of a topic in music, and you're a spokesperson for it now. So that's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you for speaking up on it, on the issue.
Yeah, of course.
I know that you have a nonprofit also directed to this. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and how people can help
Yeah.
the world behind this?
Totally. So actually, before the pandemic, I've wanted to do this nonprofit for a long time, and the pandemic has put things a bit on halt. But now that things are opening back up, I plan on basically the goal is to take my story and experiences with No More Bullying, is what I call it, into schools and basically do like assemblies.
Right.
Or even if I'm just even able to talk to like classrooms individually, of anybody that is willing to let me, to inspire like younger kids, and maybe we can actually, you know, find solutions for the bullying in these schools. Because my main issue is like there's no like option given. When I was bullied in high school, and my parents or somebody, a teacher I'd go to, we'd go and we'd try, but nobody could really give me any like reward or some sort of explanation why it was going on. So I want to like implement something in schools where there's like a system, like a club, or like a way that like kids can feel like they're not alone. Like if they, you know, if they're nerdy or if like they don't fit in, like let's form a club where the kids that are bullied can hang out and like, you know, get like a backup, you know, like have someone to have their back.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the ultimate goal with No More Bullying, is to get into the schools. The past year, it's been a huge year for, you know, discrimination to finally be talked about, and racism and a lot of different things. Mental health finally got normalized, I feel like, and it's only getting more normalized. But a lot of these issues start young, you know, they start with kids not getting corrected at home, and a lot of it isn't even their fault. But if we can try to solve it sooner rather than later, we could avoid many things, like possible school shootings, possible suicide. Like there's a lot of things that are tied into getting bullied, or even just, you know, maybe your name is like hard to pronounce and you can never, your teacher is always messing up your name. Like even that psychologically damages a child when the teacher can't even like say their name right, and it's like a different cultured name. Like you take the time, you learn the name, you know. I had a Pakistan friend, and they always messed up her name, so it affected her. Like still to this day, she's trauma because they'd never say her name right. So it's, you know, there's a lot of things.
You being a voice for issues like this, that's our generation actually.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we gotta try, and what better way through art and music? So
Yeah.
it's a good place to start.
So just getting more into your lifestyle, because this is the theme in the life of Serena Foster. Currently, what does your typical day look like? What kind of little routines, productivity, things do you have? Like, how do you schedule your day? How do you get into relaxation, mental health, etc.?
Right. I mean, it's definitely been challenging. I went from, you know, working at a bar to unemployment, and then that actually giving me the freedom to do music full time, which has been a blessing. But then sometimes with someone like me who has like a lot of depression and anxiety, it's kind of a curse, because then I'm like, oh my God, and I'm like putting myself on this like weight scale of like, I need to be here, but I'm only here, but I need to be better. So a lot of it has been balance, making sure I keep the top priorities like there, but I also don't neglect the less important things, like, you know, going out and walking or running every day and eating right, which, you know, everybody struggles with anything like that. But if I focus on some sort of a system of balance, it helps. And then just trying to be as creative as I can.
That's awesome. I mean, with a busy schedule, like it's good to know how to take care of yourself and your work. So
yeah, no, totally.
And then also, what are your hobbies outside of making music and music in general?
So the pandemic actually led me to what I now have, my own production company with one of my best friends, Kate B. We started a female based, because we're two girls, production company. We call it Starglow Productions, and we love filmmaking, and I live for filmmaking myself as well. That's why I get so invested in like music videos and like creative content, because essentially I want to make videos for other people. I want to direct. I actually directed I co-directed a music video with my friend Jala for her music video over the pandemic, and it was amazing. And I've always loved directing and behind the scenes as well. So so I love filmmaking on the side as well as music.
That's awesome. Those are so complimentary. And I mean, is high school one of the ones that you directed? Is that what you said?
So my friend Kate B, my business partner with Starglow Productions, directed it, and I basically just told her the concept. I kind of presented her an idea, and this was before we made our production company official, and this was her debut directing, and she killed it. She did amazing, and I'm so proud of her. And I basically like gave her the song and kind of gave her like a brief storyboard of what I would love to see, like ideally, like if we could make it happen. And she like took that and ran. And together, like the whole crew, we all worked so well that, I could see doing that for artists like themselves, like, for me. And it's always been a dream of mine to do more directing as well. So
that's awesome. I wish you the best with that. I mean, definitely you're getting the team together, and you have such a bright passion for it in music.
Thank you.
Wish you the best with that. And then, getting into your future goals, what keeps you motivated? Do you have any specific role models or music?
Wow. Definitely Lady Gaga. She's like my all-time favorite artist. I think she's the reason I actually survived getting bullied in high school, was because I would literally go home, like lock myself in my room and like blast Born This Way and just like sing in the mirror. And I would like learn her dances and like do them by myself in my room. And I felt like such a loser and outcast for getting bullied for doing music in high school. But now I look back and I'm like, no, I owned who I was. I never settled. I'd sing the national anthem. I'd do whatever I needed to do. And I stuck to my guns. And, I want to make sure kids are inspired and stick to their guns with their own art. So that's kind of what Lady Gaga did for me. It's the hardest part because you're at a weird age and you're getting compared to like another girl. As a female, I would look at other girls, they'd be a lot skinnier than me, or they'd be a lot like prettier. Apparently they just could do their makeup perfect. And I'd be like, how can I not do that? But then I was like, no, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm a singer. I would post my YouTube videos of me in my room alone singing, and they'd make fun of me, but like I did it anyway, and it sucked at the time. But I want to change the narrative and make it a more accepting place for people, especially now with cyberbullying and TikTok and Instagram is way more like it's intense, so I don't want to stand back. I want to get in their face and make sure that they know like to be a good person.
What are your goals as an artist, especially for high school? I know you talked about the message, but what would you say your goals are for your future as an artist?
To continue to put out really powerful content and music. I really, really believe that for me, a lot of the reason I even put anything out is to just make sure something is said. So I've written a lot of songs. I have a lot of songs I'm sitting on that aren't released yet, but for me, every move is like strategically supposed to make sure there's an impact. So every music video I do, I want to make sure I have a message, or I can maybe get a charity involved or something, because I've just noticed a lot of content loses itself when it's just kind of given rather than like said, if that makes sense. Because I could write a million different types of songs, but I love the idea of making a song a message. So that's definitely like the goal to continue to do, and to maybe make a name for myself doing that.
So for my final question, what advice do you have for younger artists and entrepreneurs, since you do have the nonprofit?
Just be yourself and own who you are. And if you're a little different or a little weird, or maybe that's the best thing you could be doing. Lady Gaga was told, she was weird because she'd have like mirror bras and she'd dance in her underwear, but look where she got, And, you know, people told me I was a loser and my voice was terrible, and they told me to go kill myself. They told me all these horrible things, and I prevailed, and I've never been so happy with what I'm putting out as an artist. And I'm writing better and better stuff every day because of where I've been in my past has kind of helped me get there. So if you're young and you're feeling lost or you feel like you can't do it, just do what you're gonna do for yourself, and it's gonna be better than anybody else because it's just you.
That's so authentic. I love that advice. You know, believe in yourself and you'll go a long way with that. So that was all my questions I have for you. I'm so happy to meet you for the first time, and also
I know, this is so nice.
I love your personality. I love your music.
Thank
would
you.
like to, you're welcome. Would you like to tell any of the people listening where they can find you? We'll have some of the links up, but would you like to share where people could find you?
Yeah, Serena Foster is my name. If you Google me, everything should pop up. I've been doing this a very long time to be able to say that, which is pretty cool. If you look my name up on Spotify, Serena Foster, YouTube, you can find all my music. My Instagram is official Serena Foster. And yeah, and especially another message I'd love to share is I always love the idea of collaborating because I love writing with other artists. I'm actually working on a really cool collaboration right now with my friend X Ari. And, you know, I'm trying to do more collaborations too, because I feel like that's something I've never really explored to the max. So I'm really also pushing that at the same time as my own work, but to work with other people, especially other women. It's a really cool time to be doing that right now. I feel like the industry is ever changing, especially for independent artists. So yeah, if you have the freedom, use it. So yeah.
Definitely.
So I'll do what you did. You